this time. It was not my fault this time. I had nothing to do with it. I was ready to go. I was just sitting here waiting, man.
Okay, so like one time I'm late. One time.
I'm just saying, I always get blamed. And this time, I just want to make it perfectly clear.
To be fair, how many times have you been late?
I mean, quite a few, and it's always been a technological issue. So,
but I'm late one time, 25 minutes late.
I would not be giving you as much shit if I did not get endless shit every time I had a technical issue and was a little bit late or had a problem. So, that's in the interest of fairness.
In the interest of fairness,
this is retaliatory.
Now we're playing fair.
In the interest of fairness, this is purely retaliatory.
Hello. Finally, welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the GoBrandon no government license, which allows for the use and the reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. We're also covered by Brandenburg v. Ohio 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical. This is episode 196.
I stopped counting a while ago.
Like that?
I don't know. Something like that. Sounds probable.
I think that's what I wrote down.
We're really professional.
Professional as fuck. Half an hour late. Can't remember anything.
No script. Just like send it.
I did get the links done early, and then two of our people backed out. So
yeah, both Josh and Chris backed out.
Just me and Andrew.
Hey man, we've done it before. It's generally a pretty good show. So you just got to get me to rant a little bit, and we'll get some fan mail again.
Karen Kerner says that comments are turned off on our live.
What?
Uh-oh.
Well, that's not supposed to happen.
Uh-oh. Let me check. What is up with that?
What the fuck is up with that? Anyone who's a fan of Critical Role gets that. But if you don't watch Critical Role, maybe not so much.
Let's see. Okay, no, that's not. Is it not on our end?
I don't know. Let me look. If I go to our YouTube and our live right now. Yep, comments are turned. Live chat is turned off.
Live chat is turned off, huh?
Don't know how that happened. I don't even know how to do that, to be honest with you.
I don't either.
That's weird.
I don't know.
Well, it's because we don't care what you have to say tonight. I don't know. I actually don't know what we're talking about. So,
I don't know. Entertain the folks while I try to figure this out. As soon as the fucking YouTube page will come up.
Need faster internet connection, man.
Yeah, I need a lot of things. And most of them can be solved with it. Most of them can be solved with a check for about $8 million.
Oh yeah, I mean I could do a lot with $8 million. Although honestly, like I've thought about it, like if you won millions of dollars, what would be the very first thing you buy?
Firearm.
See, I thought about that, and I'm like, would I buy a house first?
No,
or would I buy a?
It'd be a new vehicle. It'd be a new vehicle.
I think I'd buy a car first. I think the first thing I do is I buy a car. And honestly, I think that I probably buy a really stupidly cool and wildly impractical car.
No, it would be an absolute basic like F-150, F-250, something like that. That would completely blend in. until I moved and got everything established and I wasn't worried about anything. And then it would start. And then I would get a nice ride.
If I'm fabulously rich, I'm still the same reckless asshole that I am now. I'm just doing it on a far more epic scale.
So it wouldn't be just one time then.
It would just be like
there would be a second time.
What's the one car, the Rhino GX? That's what it would be.
The Rhino GX. What's the Rhino GX?
The USSV Rhino GX. It is a $300,000 fully armored, capable of withstanding AK-47 fire for 2 hours SUV.
I don't hate that.
It is gigantic, and it puts a Humvee to shame, and I want one so bad. And I think that my very first thing would be to order one of those, and like they're generally available in like black or tan, orange, Lamborghini metallic orange.
Oh, you are obnoxious.
And I'm like, I want an unrestricted exhaust, just like straight pipe that bitch right out the side, just be as wildly obnoxious as possible, and just be like, what are you gonna do about it? It weighs as much as a tank.
An armored up G-Wagon would be a good pick too.
Armored G-Wagon, I actually really like G-Wagons. I've driven a couple. They are obnoxiously nice. Like, I don't want them to be nice because annoying people buy them. But they are really nice. They are really nice. I mean, I had the same opinion about a lot of Ferraris I've driven. Like, I don't want to like Ferraris because Enzo was such a dick. And like, he was such a dick. You have to appreciate his dickishness, though, because Enzo Ferrari managed to inspire so many other automakers to do fabulous things. You know, Ferruccio Lamborghini founds Lamborghini because Enzo Ferrari is a dick. Ford creates the GT because Enzo Ferrari is a dick. Like,
you ever watch that movie Ford versus Ferrari?
Oh yeah, it was. I was super.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah, it leaves some good stuff out. It leaves some really horrifying stuff out. There are the way the driver actually died is worse. It also leaves out one of the other drivers dying. It kind of skips over the first year that they ran the GTs, because the first year that the GTs get run, they lose badly because they all break, and badly and quickly as they all fall apart. It also ignores the better story from that year, because the better story from that year is that Ferrari brought like every possible Ferrari, right? Like Ford is going to run the GT40. So Ferrari's like, screw you, and brings in, like, he just calls everyone he knows and is like, hey, do you have a Ferrari race car? You should bring it to Le Mans. And hauls in everything he possibly can. And this crappy little, like, I want to say it was like a Lancia or something, like, wins that year because all of the Ferraris break down, all of the Ford GTs break down, everything dies, and this scrappy little bastard manages to win with, like, no factory support, nothing, and he manages to pull it off. It's a glorious story. It's an absolutely glorious story. And if you want to hear it, check out the Vin Wiki channel. Not right now, obviously. You should watch us right now. But the Vin Wiki channel has a fabulous story on that, actually from my favorite storyteller from them. He's also the guy who does, if you guys have watched the show for a while, that This Can Be Red shirt that I have with the Ferrari 356 on it. He's the one who tells that story. He's also the one who tells the story about how he knows God is an Italian. Where his Ferrari was saved from a falling tree. It's by, like, just sheerly an act of God. Like, the tree falls on his race car, and the roll cage of the race car barely saves the Ferrari, but does save the Ferrari from being destroyed. And he's saved because he's under the Ferrari as the tree comes down. And he's like, and that's what I realized. God must be an Italian.
I don't. I'm not seeing anything as to why they would be turned off.
Do we need to exit and come back?
No, I don't think that would help. It doesn't say there's any restrictions.
You guys just don't get to talk to us today, apparently.
Yes, Jason Scheller, we know that they're turned off. He just messaged me. Trying to figure it out, man.
There, it shouldn't be. We didn't do it. Oh wait, hey, so I exited out and came back in, and it is showing now. So if you go back out,
Okay.
come back in, it should be available as of right now. You should be able to check. Viewers as well. If you back out, you come back. It should be available.
Okay. I have no idea. I don't know. Let's just go. If they can't, I don't know what's going on.
I'm telling you, man, it's available. You just gotta if you're watching, yep, there we go. Yeah, if you're watching, you just gotta back out of our live stream, come back into live stream, and it's available now. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
that's super weird.
Like the homies are on top of it. Like Brandon, Shawls, Karen, and Monkey all messaged me saying, "Hey, they were off." I don't know what is different or what, I don't know, but. Yeah, you know what I think it is? No, that couldn't be it. I don't know. Either way, it's alive, apparently, so there's comments again.
It's the Fed Boys, I'm telling you.
So if you've been listening for the last 12 minutes, I'm sorry.
Hey, man, they got to hear about one of the greatest automotive racing stories.
Content on my end. You know, maybe I clicked the wrong thing. I think that's what it is. I just went through this through the page and I had clicked, yes, it's made for kids. So maybe that automatically turned off the comments.
Yeah, that's probably what's going on.
So I turned it off. No, it's not made for kids, and I turned that into the default. So we shouldn't have an issue with that again at all, ever. Hopefully. So. Yeah, my fault. So that's 2 on me today, Andrew.
See?
I fucked up the chat and I was late.
See?
less on our. Are we ever on our game though?
We're not, but we're less so tonight. It's our game is our. What is our game? I don't know. Speaking of games, apparently
it is weak.
Apparently pickleball is this up and coming thing, and I don't know what it is.
Pickleball, it's like halfway between like ping pong and full size tennis.
That's what I thought. Is like because I saw a commercial where they were apparently playing pickleball tonight during the Packers game, and it looked like it's like tennis but played with big ping pong paddles
on a smaller court, yeah.
On a smaller court, and it's like got to bounce first before you hit it back.
Something
and
like I don't know.
Yeah, like apparently LeBron James.
That's for young athletic people.
Yeah, I can't even play tennis. No, athletics are not my thing, right? If it's not shooting related, I'm probably not any good at it. I do need to get into golf for the sake of my own job.
Did you enter the drawing for the Strybog?
I did not.
Ooh. That's the link. That's the link to the
chat. The problem with entering a lot of those is that you have to fill out a 4473 and
well, yeah, I mean it happens. Which I would only put my name on one if I did win. If I did have a bunch of money, I'd only put my name on one 4473. But it would like have additional pages attached to it. of the of the number. Just one background check. 73 firearms.
It's just the whole thing.
Calling a U-Haul to help me bring the stuff home. Shaw says you can do female sports, Andrew.
I could suddenly be fantastic. Look at that. I identify as a 14-year-old girl, and therefore I should be in middle school girls sports, and I will dominate.
Now our podcast is made for children.
With my beard and tattoos. Just
don't be a bigot.
I'll play middle school girls hockey. It'll be great. Just like body checking them through the glass.
Body checking them through the glass.
Don't be a bigot.
It's that one scene in the movie Dodgeball where the Girl Scouts tested positive for a high-grade steroid.
Yeah, anabolic steroids and a low-grade beaver tranquilizer. God damn you, Francine! I've seen Dodgeball enough to quote most of that film. And
reason 763 that we are lame as fuck.
That's why women love me. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I know one thing. If I've learned anything in my life, is that if you want to pick up trim, you got to be able to quote Will Ferrell movies, Dodgeball, and American Pie. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, Eurotrip.
Mi scusi.
It's good.
I have no segue for that, but I have three quick announcements. One, today is the 5-year anniversary of when we lost Tom Petty. So, R.I.P. Tom Petty. Two, it is the 9th anniversary of Ross Ulbricht's arrest. Not his conviction, that was in March, but his arrest. So Ross Ulbricht has been in jail for 9 years and a day now. And he's very depressed about it. And 3, today, October 2nd, is the 1-year anniversary of probably the top 5 greatest social media abnormalities that became popular. On this day, 1 year ago, was the creation of the "Let's Go Brandon" chant. She was interviewing the racer, and she goes, "Oh, you can hear them say, they're chanting fuck Joe Biden."
Oh yeah. He's like, "Let's go, Brandon." Yeah, supporting this young man.
Yeah, they're celebrating "Let's Go Brandon," and that became the thing. So that only started a year ago. Only a year ago. Like it's literally feels like 3 years since then, but that was only a year ago.
Yeah. Man. That's a hell of a this day in history.
Yeah.
In recent history. Is there anything else interesting that happened this day in history?
I don't fucking know. History didn't start before 2016.
And that's why you don't finance a mattress.
Right, Shaw? It feels like this past 1 year feels 3 years long. Like with Biden and the end of COVID and inflation and the gas prices and just the January 6th stuff and the Whitmer stuff, and it feels.
Dude, yeah, the past 3 years have been the longest decade in history. So this day in history, Rock Hudson died of AIDS in 1985.
There we go. Now I'm appropriate.
There you go. Gatorade was invented. 1965.
Water sucks.
Yeah, water sucks. It really, really sucks. The end of the Warsaw Uprising in 1944.
This hat is
Um,
uncomfortable as fuck. What the hell?
1967, Thurgood Marshall was sworn in as the first black Supreme Court justice. Oh, 1941, Operation Typhoon was launched by the Germans. That worked out well for them. 1919, Woodrow Wilson suffered a stroke. 1835, the first shots of the Texas Revolution were fired in the Battle of Gonzales.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Guinea gained its independence. Benedict Arnold's accomplice was hanged.
Absolutely riveting podcasting right now.
And in 2006 was when Charles Roberts entered the West Nickel Mines Amish School in Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania, and murdered 5 students.
Oh, lovely. He sounds like a nice gentleman.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, you know, those Amish, such big threats.
Oh, yeah. The only thing the Biden administration has been successful is slowing down time. And Shaw says, Shaw says, you know, inflation is bad when even time is giving up.
Yeah. Man,
yeah,
5 minutes ain't what it used to be.
Scott says, lit as usual. I was 27 minutes late too, bro. We were a half hour late.
Well,
oh, what's up, bro?
We were either a half hour late or a week and 23 hours early, depending on how you want to look at it.
I arrived precisely when I intended to.
Yeah.
No. But how about speaking of good timing? Can we segue that? Speaking of good timing?
Hey, yeah, why not? That works as a segue.
Aviation survival technician second class Zach Loesch earned praise and a phone call Friday from the commander-in-chief, that is Joe Biden, for kicking in a wall to save a trapped wheelchair-bound woman and her husband. The guardsman hoisted the woman in her wheelchair to a waiting helicopter and to save them from Ian, right? Got a call from Biden, the whole rigmarole, the thank you very much for your service, way to go, Joe, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, because he was a fucking hero. Like, he figured out a way to save these people.
Yep.
And
Biden said in a press release from the White House, said Biden told him, quote, I told him how proud of him I was and thanked him for all the work him and his coasties are doing to save lives. He said he thanked him for the heroic work that they and the Coast Guard colleagues have performed during search and rescue operations in response to Hurricane Ian. The flip side of this one is aviation survival technician second class Zach Loesch is being kicked out of the Coast Guard for refusing to get the COVID jab.
Which is something that the Coast Guard is currently being sued over.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going out on a limb here. I'm sure that the wheelchair bound lady and her husband being saved from the hurricane did not think the guy that just broke through their wall like the Kool-Aid man did not care about his vaccination status.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
Wait, before you save me. Are you up to date on all your boosters?
Are you vaccinated? Yeah. No. Don't pull me out of the flooding home as the Category 4 hurricane approaches. What is your vaccination status first?
Yes. Yeah. Where's your mask?
Yeah, because that's super important. It's not like the Coast Guard is really military or anything, but
yeah, aren't they under the umbrella of the DHS? Right? Not under the umbrella of the DOJ.
You mean the DOD?
The DOD, yeah. I'm pretty sure they're under DHS.
They might be. They might be. It's but I still take them more seriously than the Space Force, at least. But
yeah.
Only barely.
That Space Force song is so bad.
It's oh man.
Yeah.
It's
Biden
I
said,
love comment on that. Did Steve Carell write this?
Biden said Hooper's team also saved a 1-month-old baby. But the next time Loesch hears from a federal official, it could be to learn his career is over. Loesch told the news outlet that he applied for a religious exemption to avoid taking the COVID vaccine, but does not expect it to be honored. Quote, if I had asked any of the people I saved yesterday if they wanted me to come with me, even though I was unvaccinated, every single one of them would have said yes, he says. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
they absolutely would have. None of them care. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous. Look, the reality is, I mean, regardless of how you feel about the vaccine or anything else, is you can't in one breath say that the military is protecting freedoms, which is bullshit. But you can't say that and then also say, but they themselves don't have the freedom to determine their own medical statuses.
Yeah. It says more than 2,600 members of the U.S. Coast Guard and thousands more from other military branches remain unvaccinated. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin last year made the COVID vaccine mandatory for all service members, including those at military academies. Most of the service members who have refused the jab have been given general discharge, meaning they can receive benefits and rejoin the military if they get the vaccine. As of this article, Coast Guard has rescued or aided in saving 442 people.
Well, and they're estimating death toll, what, over 200?
Something like that.
So that could have been triple the death toll if the Coast Guard hadn't stepped in. Mm-hmm. And but dear God, let's hope that they're not, unvaccinated, because that
go into a myocardia attack in the middle of trying to save somebody.
Take my hit. Thud. Yeah.
No.
Like, it's.
I thought that was like, he hands you a loaf of bread with one hand and then smacks you with the other. I mean, like, thanks for saving people. Now get out.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, that's pretty par for the course for the military. I mean, again, not that the Coast Guard is the military, but and you'll never convince me you are, Coasties. I
will say that the boarding parties, that the guys that go out and actually board like narco subs and stuff, I'll give them some credit. But if you're just the rescue swimmers, I'll give credit to also.
I think that I think that the rescue swimmers and stuff, they do great work. That ain't the military, but
that ain't the military. No.
Emergency service.
That's why they're under DHS and not DOD.
Yeah. It's I loved that scene in the Netflix show Space Force when Space Force is getting me fun of, and the Coast Guard guy's like, does this mean that we're no longer the losers on the block, right? And everyone's just like, no. No, you still shut up. They are still more military than you. But no, the thing is, though, is that this really is par for the course of the military, because remember that, like, the guys who appeared in the famous photo, the Marines in the famous photo of the raising of the flag and on the top of Iwo Jima, on Mount Suribachi, they all basically got abandoned. Several of them died in combat. The ones who got brought home, especially like Ira Hayes, wound up because he may or may not have even been in the photo. He wound up like racked with guilt and survivor's guilt and PTSD and everything else, but got basically zero help, turned into a massive raging alcoholic. His life fell apart. Like, this is what happens, because once they've used you up, they just crumple you up and toss you aside. They don't care about you. Not really.
I mean, look at a homeless person, right? There's a lot of homeless veterans out there, and they have some sort of fatigue on, and they still wave the flag.
Dude, I marched while I was homeless. I marched in a Memorial Day parade.
Yep. Okay, where do we want to go? Oh, since we're talking about hurricanes, let's go with this one.
Okay.
Government subsidies encourage millions to move into Hurricane Ian's destructive path. Did you know that? Did you know that the National Flood Insurance was a government subsidies program?
I do, but I work in mortgages. So
Yes. Let's see. I'm gonna skip that part. Skip that part because I don't want to care about it. In any event, the situation brings up the question of natural disasters like this always do. Why does government keep subsidizing houses in hurricane zones? Some people
they
would
do
live in
in
risky.
flood zones too.
Yeah, some people would live in risky areas no matter what, of course, because the land is cheap. Look at Houston. Perfect example. Look at all the houses on the west side or on the east side of Houston. Why do they
Galveston,
exist? Why
the
do
entire
why
island
do
of
all those
Galveston.
houses exist? Because it was cheap land and they were able to build cheap houses there. And why were they able to do that? Because the government subsidizes flood insurance.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing here in La Crosse. Like three quarters of the city is within the floodplain of the Mississippi, and
Yeah.
floods literally every single year. And yet the government then subsidizes building there so that they keep building there, and then
Yep.
people go, my house is underwater. Oh gosh, how unpredictable. It's only happened for the past 150 years.
It's a 100-year storm. That happens every year. Let's see. Federal government incentivizes people to build homes in floodplains by offering to subsidize flood insurance. The National Flood Insurance Program was created in 1968. Before the program, few private companies offered flood insurance as it was considered unprofitable. People chose to not buy flood insurance because it was expensive. But after every natural disaster, the federal government had to bail out the homeowners in flood-prone areas. After Hurricane Betsy in 1965, the first storm to cause over $1 billion in damage, Congress passed the National Flood Insurance Act. Now, there was some good rationale for the federal government to enter the industry. Private companies were unwilling to do it. Congress thought it would save money on rebuilding homes by offering insurance. Floods affect many homes at once, so it's not an individualized risk like car accidents or fires. And the program has been largely a disaster. Since the program started, tons more people have moved into flood zones in Florida, for instance. Millions of people in the past 50 years have moved into what became Hurricane Ian's path, and many new homes in risky areas were built to accommodate this. While some of the folks would surely have moved regardless, it seems likely that many would have turned off if they couldn't get relatively inexpensive flood insurance.
Well, gosh, I just don't understand
Okay.
why my house was destroyed when it was built 5 miles from the edge of the ocean and below sea level. Who could ever have predicted that that could have gone badly?
Yep. And the federal government isn't the only entity subsidizing flood insurance. In Florida, the state-backed Citizens Property Insurance Corporations recently reached 1 million policies, more than double the number from 2 years ago. CEO Barry Gilway, quote, said this comes as private insurers continue to drop customers to curb their losses.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not profitable, right? Like look at Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, right?
Mhm.
When the Ninth Ward floods, everyone who's ever been to New Orleans, myself included, went, well, yeah, because it's below sea level, and the only thing standing between you and massive flooding is a pile of dirt. And so that didn't go well, obviously. And it's just, duh. And people would be more intelligent because people generally, understand risk, and they're risk averse. But when you take real financial loss out of the equation, there's much less risk for them, and they're far more willing to throw things away doing really transparently stupid things.
Okay, this is the best part. Hold on. The cost of the insurance program was fully covered by its premiums until the end of 2004. Since then, it has had to steadily borrow funds primarily due to Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy, accumulating $25 billion in debt by August 2017.
Billion with a B.
In October 2017, Congress canceled $16 billion of its debt, making it possible for the program to pay claims. As of December 2020, the NFIP, that's the National Flood Insurance Program, owes $20.525 billion to the U.S. government. So that's why it is cheaper to live in areas where it floods.
Breaking windows for a better tomorrow.
It's literally like you break the window and remove it, and I'll put up a new window and you can break it and remove it as I'm putting up a new window. Like
instead of going, hey, maybe building in a place that historically has consistently suffered significant property loss every single time a slight wind has blown is a really terrible fucking idea.
Not only that, but you were building in a hurricane or flood zone with 2x4s built to minimum standards, or even worse, an aluminum trailer.
Well, here in La Crosse, right? Like, so here in La Crosse, they about a third of the city, the third of the city coming away from the Mississippi River, which is, the largest river in North America, about a third of the city used to be part of the meandering of the Mississippi. And they improved the bank and said, okay, we're going to keep the Mississippi right here. But they didn't build it up. Right, but they didn't build anything up. They didn't raise anything. It's all still at the same level as it was when the river used to occasionally meander onto it. How do rivers move? Well, they move because they flood, and then they settle into a new channel as the water levels go down.
Path of least resistance.
So the river's still going to flood. You've just made it settle back into its old channel and just kept it from doing that. But it's still going to flood.
Every year.
Every single year. So the city of La Crosse continuously floods, especially its downtown, continues to flood and flood and flood and flood year after year after year after year. Huge swathes of the area flood. And they're building tons of luxury homes on an island in the middle of the Mississippi that regularly winds up almost entirely underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it floods, they go, oh, God, we need help. How could this have happened? Well, probably because based on the past 150 years of historical data, that island winds up underwater every fucking spring.
We passed a law. We passed a law saying the Mississippi can't flood. This is illegal.
Yeah, like, we can assume it's probably going to happen again. Based on the past 150 years, this year is probably not going to be a sudden break. It's going to do it again. And
there's a good chance it would do it the year after that too.
Probably. And yet, because you make it artificially cheaper to build there, you wind up with this issue. You get it in Louisiana, you get it in the Alabama, the whole Gulf Coast, right? Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Well, Georgia's not technically on that. Florida. You get it along, the eastern seaboard in South Carolina and Georgia and North Carolina and Virginia. You see this constantly where people build in very obviously bad to build places.
No. Brandon's right. We just need to put up flood-free zone signs.
Yeah, no floods allowed. Sorry, no, signs up.
Can't happen.
Imagine standing there looking at the water as it approaches, like, sorry. Sign.
No, this is we can even, instead of saying flood insurance, right? Say the word sugar. Right? Same thing. Like the government subsidizes something and it backfires completely and puts people at risk. Right? I mean, flood insurance or sugar. mean, same fucking
There's-
program, same fucking disaster.
So here's a fun parable that you may or may not have heard. So in India, there was a really big surplus of cobras. There's cobras all over the place. And they're biting all sorts of people, and they're biting all sorts of livestock. They were a general nuisance, and they're causing a disruption. So the Raja decided that he was going to place a bounty on cobras, because then people will go out and kill them and reduce the population.
Like wolves.
But then what happened was people started breeding cobras to kill them and bring them in to get the bounty. When the Raja realizes this, he ceases the bounty, which means there's no economic incentive to raise these cobras anymore. And so all of the breeders release all of the cobras into the jungle. And now there are more cobras in the area than there were at the beginning. This is a true story, and it's led to a phrase you may have heard of known as the cobra effect. If you've never heard of it, look it up. It's in Austrian economics. If you follow Keynes, you probably haven't heard of it. But in Austrian economics, this is an important principle, the cobra effect.
Yeah. Oh, the homie
And that's
Jackson
what we're
in the
talking
chat.
about here.
Homie Jackson, he's headed down to St. James City. It's on the southwest corner of Florida. Mother-in-law's place. He was down there a couple of weeks ago fixing it up to get it ready to sell. Now it's one of a few in the neighborhood that's still standing.
Yeah, I used to dispatch for that area. Cape Coral and Port Charlotte and Bonita Springs.
Pine Island.
Yep, Pine Island I did. Golden Gate, like that whole area, Fort Myers. And Fort Myers Beach basically doesn't exist anymore. It was all kind of wiped out. But
no bueno.
And the reality is that was super predictable. Because you know what that was before they built a city there?
A swamp?
That was fucking swamp. And it wasn't swamp.
Thank you, government National Flood Insurance Program.
Yeah, it wasn't just swamp. It was tidal swamp.
Yeah.
The level of water in the swamp was affected by the tides. That's how low the land was.
Go. Yeah, Jack. What is it? Opportunity. Cash register sounds. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Okay, so given all that we've just discussed, given what we know, and how government fucks things up, we have to cover this other thing. And the CIA just invested in woolly mammoth resurrection technology.
How could that go wrong?
I don't know. It's not like we have 6 fucking movies of one.
Dude, that's a conservative estimate. I think it's like 12 now.
The Jurassic Parks? I think there's 6 Jurassic Parks.
Is there? I think there's more. I don't know. It seems like there's way more. Well, and a TV series. Don't forget, there's also a TV series. At least one.
Is there?
Yeah, on Netflix. There's a whole series. It's like 3D animated. It's got teenagers. I don't know. I haven't watched it, but I know it exists.
As rapidly advancing climate emergency turns the planet even hotter, the Dallas-based biotechnology company Colossal Biosciences has a vision to see the woolly mammoth thunder upon the tundra once again. Founders George Church and Ben Lamb have already racked up an impressive list of high-profile funders and investors, including Peter Thiel, Tony Robbins, Paris Hilton, Winklevoss Capital, and according to the public portfolio, its venture capital arm released this month, the CIA.
That is the beginning to some sort of a joke. I'm pretty sure that.
Colossal said it hopes to use advanced genetic sequencing to resurrect 2 extinct animals, not just the giant Ice Age mammoth, but also the mid-sized marsupial known as the thylacine, or the Tasmanian tiger.
Yep, the thylacine. Yeah, the thylacine
Yes.
last seen in what, the 1930s in
Yes.
footage. I'm okay with resurrecting the thylacine. That really should be brought back to restabilize Tasmania's
Yes. On its website, the company vows,
biohabitat.
quote, combining the science of genetics with the business of discovery, we endeavor to jumpstart nature's ancestral heartbeat.
Is the head of this company dude with a white Colonel Sanders looking motherfucker in like a white linen suit with like a white cowboy hat? Because if not, I want nothing to do with it. He better have a staff featuring a top that is amber with a mosquito in it.
NQTEL, that is IN-Q-TEL. Its new investor is registered as a non-profit venture capital firm funded by the CIA.
And their sister company, Abstergo.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed fans get it.
On its surface, the group funds technology startups with the potential to safeguard national security. In addition to its long-standing pursuit of intelligence and weapons technologies, the CIA outfit has lately displayed an increased interest in biotechnology and particularly DNA sequencing.
How does a woolly mammoth help with?
Because cloning technology or cloning on humans is internationally illegal and morally founded upon, but cloning extinct animals, perfecting the science, makes it a lot easier for in the future to do to humans.
I just like, so anybody who doesn't know, history moment. It's time for history moment. The Raja of India, I believe it was India. Somebody might correct me if I'm wrong, but another organization over there, good ideas. When he heard about, because he had met Abraham Lincoln, when he heard about the Civil War, he sent some elephants to the United States. 4 males. So that when they got here, they could be used as war elephants in the war. And now I'm just like picturing, like, there's like some guy named Rajpur in the CIA who's like, but if we just throw some armor on them, we can make a fantastic war machine.
I picture Legolas hanging from the elephant, and Gimli going, "It still only counts as one."
Yeah, like it just. What? Are you gonna clone raptors? Because I've seen the movies, and this is a bad idea.
Yeah. Quote, why the interest in a company like Colossal, which was founded with the mission to de-extinct the woolly mammoth and other species, reads the NQTEL's blog post published on September 22nd. Quote, strategically, it's less about the mammoths and more about the capability.
Because then we can clone people.
Quote, biotechnology and the broader bioeconomy are critical for humanity to further develop. It is important for all facets of our government to develop them and have an understanding of what is possible. That's according to Colossal co-founder Ben Lamb, who wrote an email to The Intercept.
You know, I used to be really into like this idea, and then I watched a bunch of science fiction.
Colossal uses CRISPR gene editing. a method of genetic engineering based on a naturally occurring type of DNA sequences. CRISPR sequences present on their own in some bacterial cells and act as an immune defense system, allowing the cell to detect an excess viral material that tries to invade.
I mean, CRISPR is interesting. There's a guy who tried to edit his own genome and probably did with CRISPR.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen any results that are adverse from that, but we also haven't seen any results, period, from that. So, I mean, there is a point where you could possibly, I'm just saying, like, I've played a lot of video games called various things from, well, Silent Hill doesn't really count, but I'm
just saying, like, if it gives us zombies, I'm not terribly upset about that. But if it gives us woolly mammoths roaming the earth,
what we could do?
I don't know.
Is we should found a city for this, right? And we should name it after some local wildlife. The city that we do all this genetic testing.
Oh, we could do like a red and white logo.
Yes, that kind of looks like maybe an umbrella.
Yeah, there we go.
And we could call the city Raccoon City.
The October 1st was International Raccoon Appreciation Day.
See, so I'm not
joking.
City.
Look that up. That's a real thing.
And how could this ever possibly go badly? Ever?
Well, I mean, the CIA being involved in genetic engineering, I mean, like, that doesn't sound like a bad idea at all.
They're so trustworthy historically.
Oh, they're entirely trustworthy.
I've never experienced them doing anything bad.
Oh, goodness.
Or questionable in any way, shape, or form. You can trust them. Feel like I should have like a Hypnotoad face on it. like, you can trust them. Everything's okay.
As everybody's computer screens just start spinning.
Yeah, exactly. Just take your choice.
Trust the government. We are good. We are your friends. We subsidize your flood insurance. Here's a free baby woolly mammoth.
Dude, I would love a baby wolf. If I could train it to be an attack mammoth, that would actually be fun.
An attack mammoth?
An attack mammoth.
An attack mammoth.
Yes.
No. I mean, I would Fred Flintstone that son of a bitch and ride it everywhere, of course.
But I don't want it to be a full-size mammoth. Like, remember, there's that island down by like New Guinea where they discovered that there were not only little tiny people, but also little tiny elephants, and that they hunted them. And the idea of little tiny people hunting little tiny elephants is one of the greatest things I've ever heard in my life. But like, I want them to be the pygmy elephants. I want a pygmy mammoth. So it's only like 6 feet high, and it's just like this little mini mammoth. They're very angry. Tactical mammoth.
It's a mammoth with 4 tube.
Yeah, dude, like the panoramic.
There you go. Woolly Mammoth Tactical. WMT.
Dude, yes. I'm just thinking like panoramic NVGs and like actual like medieval plate armor. Like,
dude,
that would just be
the ones on the Sand People, Star Wars. They rode
the Banthas?
The Banthas.
The Banthas?
Okay, now okay. I want a woolly mammoth / banta.
Just walk up next to him and go, these blast points too accurate for Sand People.
No, you had to say that a month ago.
I was gonna say I didn't say that back about the middle of last month.
Oh, okay. We don't need to go into this anymore, do we? Because they start using scientific words, and I can't say those.
Also, speaking of Star Wars, if you haven't seen the old school the fan film called Troops, done like cops, about the sand troopers on Tatooine during the episode 4, you are missing out. You need to watch it. It is fantastic.
We need people out there combing the desert. We ain't found shit.
We found shit, son. Always found is bleep, sweeps, and creeps.
They jammed the radar. Strawberry.
They're going to Plaid.
You know, there's people that are listening to us that aren't old enough to understand that movie.
Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah. All right, where are we going? We're going to. We can go to New Jersey, Delaware, or we could talk about boobs.
I mean, I know which one I'm generally going to choose, especially over New Jersey and Delaware.
Okay, so New Jersey brewery sues the state over outrageous restrictions.
I mean, there's a brewery here, so okay.
A New Jersey brewery has sued the state over an expansive set of erroneous new rules it adopted in July that are intended to protect restaurants, along with bars, grocers, and liquor stores, from competition.
How could that go badly?
The suit was filed last week in New Jersey State Court by the nonprofit Pacific Legal Foundation on behalf of Death of the Fox Brewing Company, a New Jersey craft brewery. The rules, which could put many of the state's craft brewers out of business, are as awful as they are baseless. New Jersey's Alcohol Beverage Control Board has been clear that they are neither designed nor intended to protect consumers in any way, but instead to protect powerful entrenched alcohol interests in the state. And in 2019,
we have a name for when companies interact with the government, where the government kind of controls things in the market and dictates who can and can't make things and make profit and things. I forget what it is, but it was something that it was an economic process that was really popular in the 1950s.
Where the government was tied in with the businesses and dictated what businesses could and couldn't do, and on the whim could order businesses to do certain things.
Yeah, but it was for the greater good, and their motto was essentially "out of the many, one."
Yeah. Right. So the all was more important than the one.
Yeah, and their symbol was like a bundle of sticks, because the one stick would break, but if you had a bunch of sticks together, then it wouldn't break. And then there's like an axe sticking out of the end. Just
the supporters wore brown shirts.
Yeah, like brown and also black. Designed by Hugo Boss, I think, which means clearly they were good people.
Yeah,
because Hugo Boss was a fantastic.
They marched a specific way.
Yeah. They but they had a symbol that was an eagle, and as we all know, only good things come from empires that have symbols that are eagles.
In 2019, a column on the then proposed rules, the ABC, that's the Alcohol Beverage Control Board, claimed that special ruling was intended to, quote, strike a balance between the craft brewing industry and restaurants. That so-called balance, is noted, appears to be dictated by the state's restaurant industry. The state's powerful restaurant lobby opposes, quote, any legislation that would relax the state's uniquely restrictive brewery rules.
Yeah. So as we all know, New Jersey is the bastion of freedom.
And in July column, dug and ripped through the outrageous and asinine rules that detailed the now requiring every brewery. Quote, so one of the new rules is they must require patrons to take a detailed tour of the brewery before purchasing any alcohol for consumption on or off the site. The tour may not include sampling beer.
So what the fuck is the point?
They may not sell or serve food beyond trivial quantities of, quote, water or single-serve prepackaged cracker, chips, nuts, or similar snacks. A brewery also may not partner with one or more food trucks to offer food for sales on the premises. They may not sell mixed drinks containing beer on the premises. They may not offer free drinks as a gesture of goodwill or discount drinks. They may not brew or sell coffee, or may not sell any soda that is not produced by the brewery. They may not host pop-up shops, bazaars, or craft shows. They may not host more than 25 special events per year. Special events include live music, trivia nights, live television championship sporting events, or showing of any televised program, newt, sports, movie, etc., that the brewery markets via social media. They may not hire any outside marketing company to assist with any special event.
And no happiness. What? There may be no smiles or enjoyment.
Yeah, so that is the new rule facing craft breweries in New Jersey.
I can't imagine why New Jersey has effectively 0 craft breweries, whereas Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa, Colorado all have enormous numbers of them. Yes. I can't imagine what could possibly be affecting that. Surely it can't be a law designed to make running a craft brewery successfully in the state of New Jersey effectively impossible, solely to protect other existing craft breweries.
Yes, it's incredible. It's incredible that this. So again, this is the ABC board that made these rules. So this wasn't a voted on thing, right? The elected politicians of New Jersey didn't go, "Hey, we should have this rule."
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this wasn't. It didn't have anything to do with the government, with the legislative branch or the executive branch. It was entirely the unelected bureaucrats of the ABC.
Because if you are under the impression that you actually, even if voting does something, have any power and can affect things, you need to remember that the people who actually run your life and dictate what you can and can't do are nothing but unelected bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Especially since Chevron.
Yes. So just that I had to bring that up to read the rules, which are just beyond asinine and ridiculous.
They are not allowed to exist except as a company that crosses their fingers that you notice them.
Literally, like they can't offer discounts. They can't have more than 25 special events per year, right? So 2 special events per month, and they can't include any sort of like live music or entertainment. Like you can't show the UFC fights
that they advertise.
Or the Giants versus Jets, right? You can't show that as a special event.
They can show special events that they don't advertise.
Yeah.
So they can happen to have it on TV and hope that someone notices.
Okay, so but I brought that up just because I want to read these rules, but also so I can segue into something else. Because it also involves alcohol, and because of the presence of alcohol, people can't have fun. Okay. This is this is Parker, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver.
Well, and I just want to point out real quick that historically, the United States government increasingly
sucks.
Really, well, yes, and has since day one, let's be honest. Well, not since day one, not really necessarily, but since 1789, the United States government has sucked.
Yeah, between 1776 and 1789, it was pretty based.
Yeah, it was pretty okay. And then the Constitution happened and things started going downhill.
Yeah.
But the anti-federalists were right, kids. But anyway, so, no, what I want to point out, though, is that what you see a trend in with the United States government increasingly, and really historically for quite some time, is that things that were impetuses to the American Revolution, they seek to destroy. And one of those things, whether you like it or not, was alcohol. Hashtag Sam Adams. Like, alcohol was a major thing that spurred the American Revolution and funded the American Revolution. It was the rum runners who funded the American Revolution. Because contrary to popular belief, Tennessee, go fuck yourselves. The most American beverage of history is in fact not whiskey or bourbon. It is rum. That is the beverage, the alcoholic beverage that funded the American Revolution. It was running that, selling that, illegally creating it and exporting it, that funded the American Revolution. Plain and simple, that's what did it. Was rum. It was alcohol. Alcohol has played an enormous part in American politics. I mean, part of the reason for Prohibition was because not, oh, everyone's an alcoholic and they're not producing things. It very much was a, well, people are, when they're drunk, a little too able to not care about what the government has to say, and that's causing us problems.
Yes, thank you. I had to pee really bad.
Yeah, I was ranting to give you a delay here. I gotta go do that here in a second. So you feel free to read that article to compensate for my essays.
Yes. Okay, so a momentary glimpse of a woman's breast in the nearly half-century-old film The Rocky Horror Picture Show has a Denver suburb scrambling to revamp its indecently and lewdness statues. Parker plans to show the 1975 cult classic, which has long featured audience members dressing up in outlandish costumes and acting out parts of the film as it screens. I went to one in high school. It was fun as fuck. At the Parker Arts Center on October 28th. But because the Parker Arts, Culture, and Events Center holds a liquor license, it cannot, under the town code, show anything that is, quote, lewd and indecent. Quote, lewd and indecent displays include the display of female breasts, reads a memo from the town staff to Parker's elected leaders. Quote, thus, the definition of lewd and indecent displays would prohibit the screening of a movie such as The Rocky Horror Picture Show, which displays the female breast. The body brouhaha over breast bearing in this bedroom community in Douglas County is just the latest flashpoint over the issue in Colorado, which took center stage a few years back when the federal appeals court ruled that Fort Collins could not ban women from going topless. Quote, here, absent the primary injunction, the plaintiffs and all the women in Fort Collins risk criminal sanctions for making a choice to appear topless in public. That men make scot-free. That's according to the 10th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals in February 2019.
Hashtag free the nipple.
Yes. So Parker cited the 2019 appeals court ruling in its decision to pursue changes to its indecency code. Town spokesman Andy Anderson said that upon reviewing its statutes, Parker realized it had various provisions, quote, contrary to the federal court holding that the lawsuit filed against the city of Fort Collins, finding that the city's ordinance prohibiting female but not male toplessness was unconstitutional. So they won't show the Rocky Horror Picture Show because for like maybe a second, it shows a boob.
And you know, people wait for that.
Not outright banned, but it's because this art center that shows it has a liquor license, and the liquor license says no nudity.
Like I said, I think people are waiting for a decision on that with anticipation.
Yes.
Rocky Horror Picture Show reference, kids.
It is a titillizing issue that has come abreast. And
they're like, damn it, Janet.
Yes.
I love Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I went to one back in high school. I mean, that was like fucking 25 years ago.
Dude, it's such a fun experience going to one because, like, especially if you're in the front row and they hand out all of the like the garbage bags to cut a hole in and put over you because you're going to get messy. It's great. I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm a theater nerd, so that's cool.
Is there anything you're not a nerd of?
I don't know. I'm into a lot of stuff, dude. Like I've packed a hell of a lot of life into my life. And, I don't regret a damn bit of it, really. It's
no regrets.
You know, no regrets. Yeah, like I've done a lot of stuff. I've been in stage shows. I've done stand up comedy. Like I love doing that stuff, and it's a lot of fun. But the idea, I mean, yeah, a friend of ours is currently like apparently a niche internet micro celebrity right now because of a viral video over breastfeeding and like people sexualizing that, which is one of the creepiest, weirdest things I've ever heard of.
She gets a lot of hate comments too for that.
Yeah, tons, and it just it like what. Oh God, the baby's eating. I'm so offended. What, feeding children's offensive to you?
How dare you feed children naturally?
Yeah, and you know,
here, have them suck on this piece of plastic.
And it's the same people. You'll notice that the same people who freak out about that so many times are the rad trads who also are like, but you know, the nuclear family and raising people traditionally and also, and then they'll also freak out about breastfeeding. And it's like, hypocrisy much?
Come on, bro.
No. Like,
no, but those people wouldn't go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show anyway.
Well, they wouldn't. And that's fine because those of us who enjoy the Rocky Horror Picture Show don't want them there. No, but
I'm a huge fan of Free the Nipple movement.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I love seeing boobies. I love boobies. I think more boobies should be exposed. I'm all about body positivity, and y'all can suck my fucking tiny Irish penis if you have a problem with it. The issue is like people should just be comfortable, and they should just be the way that they are. And if you have a problem with that, that's your problem, not theirs.
It needs to be destigmatized, right? Like smoking cannabis. Smoking cannabis had to be destigmatized before it became socially acceptable. Right, so I mean that's what it needs to be. It needs to be destigmatized, and the only way to get it to destigmatize it is for people to get out there and do it, and then suffer the hate until it becomes commonplace.
Well, yeah, and you notice that the majority of people who are like super offended are Judeo-Christian / Muslim, and ironically, they also ostensibly believe in a book that specifically says that originally all human beings were naked when they were sanctified. So, I guess you really prefer a fallen world, then, huh? It's
again, this is just
nudity
stupid.
Should not be that offensive, especially momentary nudity.
Yes.
Like, get over it.
No.
You can look away. It's fine. Or just don't go to a show called the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is about transvestites. Maybe not your thing, huh? Just don't go.
Yeah. No comment.
Just a thought. Maybe you just don't attend the thing that's going to offend you, and then you can just avoid it and let other people live their lives because you have no right to dictate to them how they choose to live their fucking lives because no one ever made you emperor of everyone. And if you think you are, I would like to have a word with you in private about that. It'll be fun for one of us.
Unless they're into that sort of thing.
I mean, it might be fun. It might be fun for both of us for a little bit, but it will take a turn. It'll take a turn.
It'll take a turn, and I won't have nearly as much fun. If I hit you and you moan, stop.
That's gonna ruin things, but I can make it fun for me again, I assure you.
I have steel toes. Federal judge bars enforcement of Delaware ghost gun restrictions. So, okay, this judge, what is her name again? She is Judge Mary Ellen Noreika, Noreika. She is a Donald Trump appointee in 2019, and she is a member of the Democratic Party. I just want to put that out there.
What a shock.
Yes. Federal judge has issued an injunction barring Delaware from enforcing provisions of a new law outlining the manufacture or possession of homemade ghost guns, which can't be traced by law enforcement officials because they don't have serial numbers. Having a serial number doesn't make you can check. Friday's ruling came in a lawsuit filed by gun rights advocates after Democratic Governor John Carney signed the law last October, criminalizing the possession, manufacture, and distribution of such weapons, as well as unfinished firearm components.
Oh no, whatever will we do? Can't stop the signal, motherfucker.
Judge Mary Ellen Norrico denied a motion by the Democratic State Attorney General Kathleen Jennings, the sole defendant, to dismiss the lawsuit. She instead granted a preliminary injunction in favor of the plaintiffs to prohibit enforcement of certain provisions pending the resolution of a lawsuit. The judge wrote that without an injunction, the plaintiffs would, quote, face irreparable harm because they are threatened by criminal penalties should they engage in conduct protected by the Second Amendment. So, protected by the Second Amendment. While declining to issue a permanent injunction, Norrico said that the plaintiffs are likely to succeed in their arguments that a ban on possessing homemade guns violates the Second Amendment, and that prohibition on manufacturing untraceable firearms is likely unconstitutional. Norrico said Jennings had offered no evidence to support her assertion that the prohibitions don't burden the protected, don't burden protected conduct because untraceable firearms are, quote, not in common use and typically possessed by law-abiding citizens for lawful purposes. So this is a Democratic judge assigned by Trump in 2019, citing the Second Amendment as a reason to get rid of ghost gun law. So,
yep, because the bottom line is that the Second Amendment flat out says that all gun control is unconstitutional.
Yep.
You cannot.
Yep, and racist, and sexist.
Yes. All
and
gun
transphobic.
Control is racist.
Yep.
I was trying to find the specific case.
The judge also held that provisions restricting the distribution of instructions for using a three-dimensional printer to produce a firearm or component is not an unjustifiable regulation. Is not an unjustifiable regulation of free speech under the First Amendment. Quote, the statute prohibits only the distribution of functional code, the judge wrote. It does not prohibit gunsmiths and hobbyists from exchanging information about how to use the 3D printer to manufacture a firearm or for instructing individuals how to program the 3D printer to make a firearm of their choice. So the selling of the code or the giving out of the codes of the plans is still illegal, and it's not an unjustifiable regulation of speech under the First Amendment. But talking about it is fine, and showing you how to do it is fine. But I can't give you the code.
Which is ridiculous because it, again, the First Amendment says that I can...
Congress shall make no laws?
Yeah, I can say anything.
No laws.
Yeah,
none.
No laws. I can say anything I want as long as...
Yeah.
Under the Supreme Court decision, I can say anything, again, Brandenburg v. Ohio, you can say anything as long as it's not inciting imminent lawless action and is not likely to incite such action. My simple distribution of information on how to do a thing does not imply that I am encouraging or making likely that information is going to be used to do illegal things. Code is free speech.
Mm-hmm. And
not only that, but you can't stop the signal, motherfucker.
The DOJ has said that code is free speech. In fact, it said that code is free speech to the point that it went to bat for Cody Wilson and Defense Distributed against state attorneys generals to defend Cody's free speech right to distribute those plants. No, twice. They went to bat for him twice. No.
Well, and the Supreme Court has also ruled previously on at least 2 occasions that any law banning the home manufacture of firearms would not only be unconstitutional, but would in fact be unenforceable.
Oh, it's absolutely unenforceable.
And therefore irrelevant anyway. And that and it would also be unenforceable. And that was part of one of the cases, at least one of the 2, that in order to ban the home manufacture of firearms, you would have to violate the First Amendment on information distribution, and therefore it would necessarily be unconstitutional because it'd be unenforceable because of that. Regardless,
a ban on homemade, wouldn't that ban like the 1st, 2nd, and 4th?
Yeah, it the 1st, 2nd, and 4th have all been, as well as the 9th and 10th, have all been brought up in a lot of Supreme Court cases.
People forget about the 9th. People forget about the 9th a lot.
Yeah, they do. And, and that's the thing is, like, you have to remember that also repeatedly the Supreme Court has basically found over its history that the federal government can't have any say about a firearm that originates within a state and stays within a state. The federal government can't regulate that at all.
Hashtag Montana Firearms Freedom Act. Yep. Montana Firearms Freedom Act. Idaho has one.
That's happened. Man, that's happened 5 or 6 times at least, if not more. That the Supreme Court has reaffirmed that a firearm which resides in the state in which it was created and never passes between states, it can't be regulated by the federal government. No. The federal government only has a right under the Commerce Clause to regulate interstate trade, not intrastate trade. And so it's up to the state to decide what it wants to do. And that's the first part. And then the second part is, remember that the United States Constitution is supposed to supersede all other laws of the land, according to the Federalists. And therefore, the Second Amendment supersedes any state law to the contrary. So any law banning any weapon or manufacture thereof is unconstitutional. Now, again, the Constitution is a paper shield and does absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah.
But according to their rules, the statist's own rules, they're breaking the rules.
Yeah. So let's get to this last article because it's gonna take him a hot minute. You remember that image? FBI agents kneeling. George Floyd protest 2020.
Yep.
FBI insiders say agents who took a knee during the BLM protests were rewarded. Rewarded.
Of course they were.
It's a Washington Times article.
Pure propaganda.
The politicalization of the FBI is being implemented by the promotion of liberal agents into positions of authority and punishment or dismissal of agents who support conservative causes, as according to FBI insiders. They said that this institutionalizes a liberal bias in the upper ranks of the nation's premier law enforcement agency.
What? I've never heard of such a thing, he said, having worked in...
This is the same thing you see happening in the military.
Same thing you see happening in the intel apparatus. We just talked last week. We just talked about Derek.
We did a whole episode last week on the FBI. No, but this. I saw this just the other day. So this is after our last episode. I would have brought it up last episode, but
so if you haven't watched that one, go back and watch that one or listen to it. If you're listening to this and you prefer to listen to us. And I don't blame you for preferring to listen to us. We'd want to look at this
because we are working with faces for radio.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And my voice makes me sound much more attractive than I really am.
Yes.
But I don't blame you. But if you want to go back and listen to that one, I highly recommend you do that because it will some education, man.
Yes. In one high-profile example, an FBI agent on duty demonstrated solidarity with Black Lives Matter marchers in Washington by taking a knee as the protesters passed. The agent was rewarded with a promotion to a supervisor rank. The BLM march in Washington in 2020, this is Washington, D.C., was part of protests and riots that swept the country in response to the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Some law enforcement officers began kneeling with BLM protesters in Austin, Texas, Portland, Oregon, Los Angeles, Coral Gables, Florida, Buffalo, New York, and elsewhere. Among the 6 on-duty agents in full FBI gear who took a knee for BLM protesters in Washington was a female agent who was later promoted to the number 2 supervisory post at the Washington field office. Larissa Knapp, the counterterrorism special agent in charge at the Washington field office, immediately lauded the 6 agents. She said the kneeling agents, quote, de-escalated a confrontation that could have turned violent.
See, I'm one of you.
FBI whistleblower Kyle Seraphin, who we talked about last week, suspended from a job at the Bureau, said he witnessed Miss Knapp show praise on the agents when all the employees gathered in the conference room of the assistant director in charge to discuss, quote, presence patrols. Right, that to monitor people, presence patrols. Miss Knapp hugged each of the kneeling agents for their actions at the protest. Mr. Seraphin said he shook his head in disbelief before Miss Knapp yelled at him. Quote, she focused her tirade about how, quote, they were heroes and saved lives and did the right thing. Mr. Seraphin said he called Mr. Seraphin said there was a call from Director Christopher Wray to say how proud he was that the agents had de-escalated things and that Miss Knapp didn't want to see anyone looking sideways at them, meaning the agents. The FBI Agents Association, a private professional association, told the Times it provided gift cards of, quote, modest value and personal notes to these agents for, quote, exercising their professional judgment to diffuse a tense situation and avoid violence.
You were a bunch of cowards. Congratulations.
Yeah. Hold on. This is FBIAA President Brian O'Hare told the Times in a statement, quote, our efforts to support of these agents had nothing to do with supporting any group or movement. Outreach like this to agents is a normal course of action when the FBIAA wants to show support for its members, and I wanted to show support for these members after a challenging situation.
I mean, I know I like when people show support from that member.
Yes. An FBI official who spoke on the condition of anonymity also recalled the events in the conference room. Quote, some people were like, that's pretty disgraceful what they did. We're not supposed to take sides. Mr. Seraphin said
that's literally your fucking job.
It's literally part of the Hatch Act. Mr. Seraphin said joining the BLM protest should have been viewed as a policy violation of the Hatch Act, which is a law that prevents federal workers from engaging in political activity while on duty in a federal facility or using government resources. Remember, they were in full FBI gear.
Yeah, they were supposed to be
They had the vests on, says FBI. They were in their uniforms, in their clothing, in front of an FBI office.
Oh, propaganda.
Yes. According to the Justice Department, quote, political activity is activity directed toward the success or failure of a political party, candidate for partisan political office, or partisan political group. That statute carries serious penalties, including removal from federal employment.
There was a dude not long ago, if I remember correctly, who got in a shit ton of hot water for wearing his army uniform at a political rally while he was still active.
There's a cop here in the Bay Area that was recently fired for wearing a "Let's Go Brandon" shirt to work. a firefighter wore a "Let's Go Brandon" shirt to work, and they fired him for it. But FBI agents in full FBI gear can kneel in front of the FBI office, and they get gift cards and promotions.
And hugs.
Which
is really the most valuable of the rewards.
Because it's like peeing your pants, bro. Only you can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel its true warmth.
I don't know. Was the chick hot that was hugging them? I mean, if she is hot, it's,
if she's a liberal FBI agent, no.
If she's still hot,
no.
Boobies are boobies. I'm just saying.
Saying all boobies matter?
Yes, all boobies matter. Well, not all boobies. There are plenty of boobies that don't. But the thing is, why this is hilarious, and I feel like this needs clarification because it might get a little murky. Oh no! Oh God! Is that Caitlyn Jenner?
Executive Assistant Director Larissa Knapp.
That looks like Caitlyn fucking Jenner.
That's a really, really that is her. FBI recognizing accomplishments of women in the workplace. That is also FBI Director Larissa Knapp.
Okay, well, nope, the hugs are not worth it. The thing, nope. She is definitely the kind of person to need to speak to my manager's manager. You know what I mean?
She is a Karen.
Just good Lord. So no, the thing is though, is like the idea of protesting police brutality and protesting what was clearly, an intentional abuse of police power and blah, blah, blah. Totally honorable. Makes sense.
Oh, I agree.
You should, right? There are other things that the protesters did, which I fully support, that I can't mention specifically because we'll get in trouble for it. But there are several things that they did that I'm all about, man.
My lawyer has advised me not to comment any further on that.
For legal reasons, I can't describe to you the things that I fully support that they did. But
probably the same thing.
Yeah. However, what you need to realize is that what this is targeted propaganda. And this is targeted encouragement for people to go, see, I'm the same as you, to deliberately mislead people who are currently angry at the state to convince them that, well, the state could be your friend. You could have allies in the state.
Well, not that, but
might be on your side.
It creates a hostile workplace for people that don't toe that line. Right? Like if you don't fall in line with this political ideology, with this policy, with this system of beliefs, then you're an outsider. You're being ostracized. You're being passed up for promotions. You're not getting the due respect. Right? And that creates a hostile environment, a hostile workplace. We talked about it last week with the homie Kevin, Derica's husband. He transferred into his dream job. and the boss was a raging liberal, and the other people were raging liberal kiss asses, and they created an environment that was so bad, that Kevin used his vacation time to stop going while he transferred out of there. Like it was so bad that he couldn't go to work. Like he would get knots in his stomach and couldn't eat, and ulcers and the whole works. But it was his dream job. It was his dream position. But the people there created the environment that caused him to not want to be there. All right, this is the same thing that's happening in the military right now. The Army missed its numbers by like 25%. Like the economy is shit. The economy is shit.
One's volunteering.
And no one's joining the military. Like that's
right.
That's
and the poverty draft is a very real thing.
Oh, absolutely, it's absolutely a real thing. But like the military is so bad. The culture of the Army and the military is so bad that in this inflation, the start of this recession, that people aren't even willing to join the military.
Yeah, well, and and that's the thing is, what's going on is it's a systematic purge of anyone who isn't willing to toe the specific party line. Mm-hmm. But you also have to remember that the people who are towing this party line are not your friends either. They are propagandists. They are there to convince you that you have friends, that you have allies within the government. You do not.
The worst friend you have is the one that's going along to get along.
Right. These people are. So what's going on is that this is a concerted effort to purge from anyone in a position of power that may ally with opposition forces. Mm-hmm. This is a systematic purge to remove anyone who may ally with opposition forces from the positions of power.
Yeah, I mean, and for example, like these people kneeling outside the FBI office in FBI gear, these people got promotions. They got rewarded for the behavior. But the people that attended the January 6th protest and never went into the Capitol, the federal employees that never went into the Capitol, they were never part of that mob, they're getting fired. All right, they got fired for attending a protest out of gear, not in uniform, nothing like that, just for simply being at the protest on January 6th. They're being fired.
Because it's one set of controlled opposition after another, and it's not about actual sides, because they're all really on the same side. Mm-hmm. What it's about is weeding out the people who might actually have an opinion.
Yeah, preferred methods of control.
Right. It's about weeding out the people who aren't necessarily going to go along with things and might therefore become a danger. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. That's why this is important. Like, don't get us wrong. The conservatives and the hardcore Trumpkins are just as dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Nationalism is fucking scary.
Yeah, they're just as bad as the hardcore Bidenites, because the reality is Bidenites. Yes, I made that word up just now. Enjoy it.
Yeah, okay.
It kind of sounds like.
What was the other one?
Blood-sucking vermin.
Idiots is the other ones, the Brandons.
Yeah, I like Bidenites because it sounds.
That's better than Brandons.
I think it sounds vaguely idiots. Like mites and like bloodsuckers. So I think it works.
Okay, all right. I'll allow it. Parasites, idiots. All right.
Yeah, but the thing is they're two sides of the same coin, right? They still worship power. They worship people in power. They think that if you can just get the right people in power, everything will be okay. And they will go along with power as long as their guy that they have been trained through propaganda to support is the one that's in power. But the reality is they're both just as dangerous, because they will both go along with whatever bullshit their guy says, because it's their guy saying it. Yep. They don't think for themselves. They don't analyze for themselves. They don't go, but wait a minute, none of that. They just go along with it. But what we're seeing happen is that the people who support the current administration are being kept and everyone else is being strained out. And this is a power move. This is exactly the same kind of power move that Stalin did. This is exactly the same kind of power move that Hitler did. This is the same kind of power move that one dictator after another has done in government.
It's the same power move when DeSantis removed the Secretary of Education or Secretary of State or whoever he was. He removed him. Right? And people lost their ever-loving minds about it. But when the same thing happens in the FBI, they don't care. It's the other side complaining now.
Yeah, right? The reality is both sides do want to control you, but the fact that one of them, the one currently in power, is currently making power moves to consolidate that power should be sounding alarm bells for you.
Yep. And, you know, there's the old saying, oh, we just want to be left alone. Those that just want to be left alone will never overcome those that want to control them.
Yeah. You don't get to just get left alone, right? You look at even like fiction, right? The history of fiction, all these people who like are these amazing warriors, everything, like a man of your talents, a farmer, right? Like, you never get to get left alone. That isn't going to happen.
No.
Getting left alone isn't a thing that is ever going to happen. You could be like, I just wanted to be left alone. Yeah, okay, that's what you wanted, but they weren't going to give you that. They were never going to give you that. No, they were always going to come at you.
No, the Ewoks, look at the Ewoks. The Ewoks weren't running all over the solar systems. They weren't running all over space trying to control people. They were happy in their cool little tree houses, just having a chill time.
Adorable little teddy bears and their adorable little teddy bear tree houses.
Yeah.
And then the Empire showed up.
And the Empire fucked them over.
You know what they did? They fucking grabbed trees and they set them up and they turned into the teddy bear Kong.
That's what we need. We need to do a podcast or an episode, or somebody needs to do a book on the guerrilla warfare tactics of the Ewoks.
The Ewoks. I love that one that's like inspired by the Vietnam memes where it's like when you're on the forest moon of Endor and the trees start speaking teddy bear.
Yes.
The reality though is like the world doesn't leave you alone. You might not care about the world, but it's still going to care about you. Like eventually it is going to come knocking. Randy Weaver wanted to just move away and live away from everything and not care about the world. And look how that worked out for him.
5 of the 6 people in key positions in the Aryan nation were federal informants, or feds or fed informants. And all Randy wanted to do was be left alone, and they wouldn't leave him alone.
The Wolverine Watchman just wanted to be left alone. Brandon Caserta just wanted to be left the fuck alone.
Yeah, Brandon Caserta, he was just on with the homie Joshua Smith on Break the Cycle. That's on the YouTube, and it's also on Spotify. That's a good interview. Dude spent 19 months in jail because the federal government entrapped him.
Yeah, Brandon and I are friends on Facebook and stuff, and like, we've had a couple of conversations.
He followed me on Twitter, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he's a solid fucking dude. Like, but the thing is like he pointed out, all he wanted to do was be left alone. He didn't want to hurt anybody. He didn't want to do anything. The media spent 18 months calling him a white supremacist.
They're still calling him, even though he was found not guilty. They're still calling him that.
Yeah, they're still calling him that. Now they've just added accused at the beginning to cover their own asses. And he still can't get a job. He can't fucking live his life. This is the reality, right? You can't just get left alone, because the reality is that whether it's the left or the right that's consolidating power, they both want power,
Mhm.
and they will find a way to come at you.
Yep.
And you can hope that they'll leave you alone, but they won't. Like, there's going to come a point where they're not going to anymore. And you
Yep.
have to figure out what your decision is going to be
Yep.
about it.
To quote Ben Stone, a right stops being a right if you're unable to enforce it.
You have every right that you are willing to.
Or what's the other one? The Jordan Peterson one. A harmless man is not a good man. A good
Yep,
man
a
is a
good
very
man
dangerous,
is a
very dangerous
yeah.
man that has under voluntary control.
Yep.
Yeah. He also has another really great speech about you should be a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should.
No. You should be a monster.
Plain and simple. Every day, wake up and go, how am I going to become a better monster today? Because there's going to come a time where you're going to need to be.
Yeah. 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 Read, there's a book series out. I can't remember the guy's name. But hit me up on Telegram and I'll send you the PDFs. It's a 6-book series and it's about a split of the United States between red and blue. People's Republic. People's Republic is the first book in the series, and it's all about how California got completely taken over. All the conservatives pulled out, the federal government pulled out, and the coastal areas on the east and west coast are a separate country than the rest of the country. So, it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, there's and it's the thing. One of my favorite quotes is, "Hope is not a plan."
No.
Right? We all hope that things resolve themselves peacefully and comfortably.
There's
we can just get left alone.
There's a video clip out there from Flannel Daddy that says, nobody cares if you're not prepared. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Hope is not a fucking plan. You can have all the hope in the world. You can have all the positivity and positive thoughts in the world. You can do your love and light shit all you fucking want.
Doesn't mean shit.
That will not save you.
No. So, all right, let's throw some stuff out there and let's get out of here.
Well, speaking of not wanting to just depend on hope and trying to get better every day.
Good segue.
Every day.
Fantastic segue for the new clothing sponsor.
Yes. Reaper brand clothing, which I'm wearing a hat for. If you're listening, you can't see it, but it's fucking fantastic. Reaper brand clothing is an excellent clothing brand. I am so happy to be an affiliate of them. I could not be more excited. The message is fantastic. Their 10-day program is fantastic.
Yep.
They are an excellent clothing brand. It's all very high quality. It is all of the message behind it is extremely positive. Their Broken Not Defeated hoodie is one of my favorites. They're absolutely awesome. I am actively working with the founder of the brand to come up with more designs and do things. If you would like some of their stuff, I would ask you to use the affiliate link in the description. You get 15% off of your order for doing that, and you support me if you do that. If you can't use the affiliate link, use the code InkedAnarchist to checkout. You manage to get 10% off. Still,
you can also get that link at our link tree. Anarchy Among Friends link tree.
Yes, and it is super awesome. Totally worth it. It's hoodie season, right? It's full-size concealed carry. Hoodie season, and you should get yourself a really cool hoodie that has a really cool message on it, or get yourself a really cool hat, something. Check them out. That is Reaper brand apparel. Use the link in the description, or if you go there, Reaper Apparel Company, use the code InkedAnarchist to check out. You get 10% off. Also, if you want to care for your beard like a Viking, like I do, use code InkedAnarchist15. You get 15% off of your order. Although right now, if you use the code, I believe it's XXX, so XXX Carbon, you get 40% off. That only lasts today and tomorrow.
Today being the 2nd, tomorrow being the 3rd?
Yes. That you get up to 40% off of your stuff.
If you're listening to this on Tuesday or later, sorry, bro.
Yes.
You missed out.
Use that code and you can get some serious discounts. They're running all sorts of cool discounts right now, but they have their beard straightener, which is the 3X carbon straightener. They have all sorts of cool scents, including Odin's Virtue, which is my personal favorite. It's one of the gold scents. They also have their new platinum scents. They have stuff for the ladies, not for their beards. We're not dwarves. Although if your lady has a beard, I guess I'm not here to judge, and they can use the same stuff. But they also have lady stuff. They have they have sets of colognes now, all sorts of cool stuff. It's thebeardstruggle.com. Inked Anarchist 15 to get 15% off. Or again, if you're listening to this tonight or tomorrow, it's XXX Carbon, and you get 40% off. Make sure you buy Derica's book, Think for Yourself, Thinking Workbook for Beginners. That is on Amazon. You can use the link.
Find us on Rumble, find us on Odyssey, find us on Telegram.
Yes, we're also an affiliate of RK Spookware.
RK Spookware and Coffee Brand Coffee.
Yes, so use the links again and help support us. And these are
all in our link tree.
Yes, and also you get discounts if you use the links. So use the links. Why would you not? Yep. Why would you spend more? And you're gonna get it anyway. Use the freaking links, man. Like, get your discounts. All right.
Yeah.
Save yourself some money. You're gonna buy the stuff anyway.
Shit is expensive. Help yourself out.
Yeah, like the inflation's a bitch. Use your links. Also, most importantly, I think right now, because it's scrolling across the bottom, and he watches the show. Dave at popinspatches.com. Yep. Check his stuff out. It is fantastic. They're very, very high quality PVC patches. Yes. They are all awesome. There's so much nostalgia happening. Yes. You also get to their glow in the dark versions of stuff. There's the very special redacted shark that started it all. There is all sorts of cool stuff. There's the flamethrower one. There's the Biden one with the pumpkin. That's still one of the ones that made me laugh. And actually, my girlfriend said, "Hey, you can't give that one away. I want it." There is like scariest pumpkin first award, and it's Joe Biden. There's that one. There's all sorts of cool patches. Definitely check him out. It's popinspatches.com. If you use Abolish ATF, you get 15% off. I believe it's 15% off. I'm pretty sure. Yes. So use that. Check him out. Popinspatches.com. He's also got an Etsy. He's got an Instagram. All sorts of cool stuff. Check him out. Check us out on all of our other links. Everything else. We have a Telegram, so you should check out our Telegram.
Linktree. Anarchy Monk Friends Linktree. It has all the links. So you don't have to listen to me and Andrew drone on.
Check us out. Support us. It would be super, super cool. Remember that all gun control is racist.
Yes. Are you done? Can we go now?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's all of them. I don't know. Yep. If anybody else would like to sponsor me, please hit me up. I would love to pimp your shit.
Yep. Starting late and leaving early.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.